Hey guys, new video. This is going to be an impressions video on the Destiny beta, which is weird. The beta was like you had to like pre-order the game for like PS4 and Xbox One or something. I don't know the systems, but if you pre-ordered it, you got access to the beta, early access, and then they decided to open it for everyone. And I played it on the PS3. I don't have a PS4, unfortunately, so I had to play it on the inferior last gen system. It's the only system I have that I could play it on. And Destiny is a game that I've kind of been lukewarm on every time I've seen it. It's just every time I've seen this game, it just strikes me as kind of unoriginal. It looks like it borrows from a lot of games. I mean, you've got your Halo influence, of course, being Bungie. It looks like a lot of times it looks like Borderlands with the loot and the co-op stuff. But then they've got like the PvP that reminds me of Halo. Then you've got like the sci-fi aesthetic to it. It just, I don't know, every time I've seen it, it just looks like something that was unappealing to me. It just, I don't know. It's always seemed like a game that could be a lot of fun with some friends, but they also, to me, it's like one of those games it's hard to sell. It always did feel like one of those games I'd have to get my hands on to really understand what it really is. Because it was always kind of hard to understand exactly what Destiny was. And now that I've played it, I definitely have a better understanding at exactly what this game is. So I thought I'd do my impressions on it. I'll basically talk about the good and the bad. I gotta say, my overall feelings about it are, I'd say they lean more positive actually, which I was actually expecting to kind of be down on Destiny. I don't know why that is, but there's certainly I certainly have some issues with it. I'll talk about that at the bad points. But I guess let's start positive. What did I like about this beta? And of course, this is just a beta. Obviously, things are going to change. For the full retail release. And for a beta, it was pretty stable. I mean, I didn't get any crashes or any glitches or any nothing crazy. It felt really really good from a technical standpoint, actually, for a beta. So I guess the positive, the actual just setup, the actual concept of the game, you know, I found it pretty interesting. Granted, this would lead it to my negative. It starts out very strong with some neat lore, and then once you actually start playing the game, it just kind of fizzles out. It's kind of like, oh, you're a guardian and go do these random story missions, and it's just like, I don't know. It felt like there was a disconnect. It's very weird. Like, you have the opening cutscene, which is great, and then after that, the story to me just kind of fell apart. Like, it almost doesn't feel like there really is a story. You're just kind of doing like little boring story missions where you have to activate this relay or do this, and then I guess eventually, you'll save the world or whatever. I hope in the full game, like, the story gets a bit more fleshed out, and there's actually some characters. Like, I'm talking already about a negative, but I mean, I do like the overall concept and the lore from the get go. I just hope they can build on that and kind of keep it interesting. Because I don't want it to be a game where I'm playing through these story missions and I just don't care what's happening. That would be very unfortunate. And I said before, I'm not really a fan of Bungie's storytelling in general. I really was not big on like the Halo universe. I like the first game I thought was decent, and after that I just didn't care at all about anything that happened in those storylines, on that overarching storyline, I guess you could say. But yeah, I hope that I hope they make I hope the story is interesting when the full game comes out. It wasn't to me in the beta, although like I said, that the lore and concept is sound, I think. But yeah, let's keep positive here. From the beginning, the actual gunplay itself is spectacular. It just really feels good. All the weapons feel very different from one another. And Halo in general has always been a good, like, it's always felt good. Like, the shootings felt really solid. It's got you got aim down sights, kind of like Call of Duty, but I think that works really well. You're able to really keep a steady aim on enemies. Like the hit detection is great. Your weapons feel powerful. The sound effects are fantastic. So like I found the actual shooting mechanics to be fun, and using your powers was very satisfying as well. So that was a huge plus. I think it's I'm gonna kind of do a lot of comparing with Borderlands, because this game really does feel like Borderlands a lot, um, and the shooting in this is far superior to Borderlands for sure. Um, but the enemy types I thought were very interesting. I enjoyed fighting the different enemies. You really had to watch out for like melee focused enemies. Like they were pretty dangerous. And that leads me to another positive. The challenge level I thought was pretty good. It felt like appropriate. Like you always felt like you were going to die at times. And the game's got this thing where you kind of respawn every time you die, but there's also areas where you can't respawn. If you die, you go back to a last checkpoint. Which, I mean, that's when the game is at its hardest. But I did feel like the challenge was perfect in this beta. I'm talking about the PVE, the story missions. But yeah, the music is actually another positive. I wasn't expecting I wasn't expecting much from the music, but it's phenomenal. It's really good. It really fits the game, I think. Um, I guess another positive too is like the overall like this game almost feels like Phantasy Star Online at times, because you got the tower, right? That kind of is your hub world where you buy weapons, and take on quests and things like that. And then you get in your ship from there, and then you can fly to different planets and moons to explore and do missions there. But this hub world, you're in third person. You can see all these other people walking around. And I thought that was interesting. Like, this game is very MMO light. Like, the MMO elements are not as heavy as I was expecting them to be. And the RPG elements aren't as heavy as I was expecting them to be, unfortunately, either. But I do like how it's not... It doesn't completely feel like an MMO, because I'm not a fan of, like, MMOs at all. But I thought the hub world was pretty cool. I will say I thought it was a bit too small, and you didn't really get a good feel. Like, when you stand out on the balcony like this, the whole world seems really big, and there's a nice sense of place. But I would have preferred if the hub had like more characters and things to do. I mean, it feels pretty empty, and there's not as many people walking around as I thought. I guess it's all like I don't know how the servers exactly work, but I don't know. It does feel kind of lonely at times. Like it's not extremely crowded or anything. Which that brings me again to the point that it's very MMO light. Like I wouldn't expect like a massive MMO kind of experience here. But that I did like the kind of general like feel of the game. It did kind of feel like it had its own identity, which is what I was kind of worried about going in. That would kind of feel like it just borrowed so many elements from so many different games, and like didn't have an identity of its own. But I do feel like a bigger sense of like what Destiny is now that I've played it, which is good. The level design itself I thought was really good once you get onto that main planet, because in the beta there's only like the one planet, and then there's like a moon mission that's going to be unlocked soon that you can do, which that should be fun. But the actual level designs I thought were good. The only problem with them, I mean actually the world design itself, like it looks stunning, the art direction is great. I guess the level design itself I'm not blown away by. A lot of it is just like, getting your ghost companion to scan this, and then while he's doing that, defend the point while waves of enemies come in, or fight this boss, kill these enemies. The actual objectives you're doing in story missions or like the explorer missions are kind of boring. It's the same shit we've seen in so many shooters. So that was kind of that was kind of lame. I hope maybe in the full game we get better mission variety in the story missions, because I mean most of the story missions I felt like I was just getting to a certain point while killing enemies on the way there, and then just defending it for a couple of minutes while waves of enemies came in, and then that was it. Like every story mission basically felt like that, which that was kind of shitty. I definitely would have preferred more variety there. Another positive, I guess, is the three classes, how different they feel. Of course, you got the Titan, the Warlock, and the Hunter. I got them all, well, no, I got the Hunter and the Warlock to like level 5 or so, and the Titan to level 8. So I messed around with a lot of their skills. So they do each feel different. I like how they all have their different kind of armors they can get in the shops. I liked the skill progression system where, depending, if at least it seemed this way. The game actually doesn't explain things too well to you, but it looked like, say there was like a skill with the Titan where you had like a frag grenade that kind of stunned enemies. If you kept, the more you used that, the more you'd get, the closer you'd get to unlocking another grenade skill that was like underneath that on the skill tree. I'm pretty sure that's how that worked. But other than that, you're gaining skills every level, and leveling up's a lot slower in this game than I was expecting. Which, and as far as I know, there's only 20 levels in the full retail game. You can get up to 8 in the beta, and that was actually a disappointment to me. Which I'll talk about this a bit in like the bad points, but it's the RPG elements are a lot lighter than I was expecting. Because everything feels very slow. It takes a while for you to get new skills, and in loot in general, there's just not much of it. I thought I didn't like. You get a few new weapons and armor per mission, but I guess maybe I'm too used to Borderlands, where just loot was constantly dropping. In this game, it's not too often you'll get like a brand new weapon or armor, but I don't know. So the skill progression I like. I just wish it was a bit faster and there were more levels or maybe just more skills. I mean, there's a decent amount of skills for each class, but the game can get a bit repetitive because it's so long in between levels, and that's just going to get worse as you play the game since there's only 20 levels. But I do like how there's like a subclass system where there's, from what I can tell, there's like maybe like 3 subclass systems where each subclass has its own skills, and you can kind of switch between them and gain new skills. So I guess even though you're going to be at the max level maybe fairly quick when you play the game, it will take a while to get all the skills for each class. But I guess that would be like a maxed out character completely. But yeah, graphically it's pretty impressive. For a PS3 game, I thought this game looked pretty damn good. It had like a blurriness to it. Like the game felt pretty, like I don't know, it was blurry for some reason. I don't know. I'm very curious to see what the PS4 version looks like. It controlled fine, like it controls great, and like what I said before, the shooting feels good, which is surprising. The PS3 DualShock controller always has felt terrible to me for first-person shooters, but it works well here, and I think that about covers it for the positive. And thinking of it now, like I think I might have some more negative things to say about the game than positive, but I have to stress that the fact that the shooting itself is so fun and solid, that kind of, to me, like counteracts a lot of like the negatives I have to say about this game. Because I probably will bring up more negatives than positives. But I think the how solid the shooting is kind of overshadows a lot of these negatives. But with that said, I do want to talk about the things I'm a bit disappointed with as far as the Destiny beta goes. And like I said before, the loot. I don't know. To me, like, there just wasn't enough loot. Like, I found a couple loot crates every now and then every now and then an enemy would drop, like, a new gauntlet or a new pair of boots. But other than, like, cosmetic looks, and a lot of the armor didn't look much different. I guess the higher level armor is probably going to look a bit different, but, it just gave me, like, a higher defense number. The weapons, it's fun to get new weapons, but I didn't get too many new weapons throughout all my time playing the beta. All the weapons are kind of fun to use, although to me assault rifles felt like the best. I don't know, to me they felt way more powerful and efficient than any of the other weapons, but I guess a lot of them have to, I need some practice with a lot of them. Like the hand cannon I thought was pretty much useless, unless you would get like a really strong one. I didn't find very many rare weapons or anything like that. Like, I just didn't find loot was dropping enough. I guess another thing, too, is I don't know, maybe I didn't look at this game enough, but I actually thought there was supposed to be, like, actual space exploration. Like, you actually had a ship and you would fly to these planets or something like that. I don't know, maybe I thought this game was trying to be more ambitious than it is, but you do get your own ship. But it's purely cosmetic, and you just see it in like a loading screen. You choose where you want to go from a menu, and then it's a loading screen, which, by the way, the loading screens are like extremely long. Now that might be a problem with the beta or the fact that I'm playing on PS3, but that was kind of disappointing. And you can get a new ship, but it's just cosmetic. So I don't really see the point in spending all this money. And like you get like what do they call it, glimmer or something like that. Your currency that you can buy a new ship, but it's like it's just purely cosmetic, and no one's gonna see your ship. So it's I don't know. I just found that kind of weird. Now you also get like a little kind of hovercraft type thing while you're on the ground, which is cool, but you can't like shoot with it or anything like that. It just makes you go faster and you can get around the map quicker. And a new ones like new vehicles are going to be better in that sense. You can buy new ones of those. I forget what they call those, but they have like higher durability numbers, and that's it. Like that's the only difference. And then of course cosmetic, which that was kind of lame too. Now there are some cool vehicles in the PvP part, and I don't know. Maybe you'll get some of those for like the PvE missions. I sure hope so, because I don't know. I was definitely a bit bummed with the customization with as far as like your spaceship goes, and actually the customization in general. I mean, you've got your 3 weapons and then your armor, and that's about it. You can upgrade your certain pieces of armor and weapons, and like actually like have like they can give you different skills, which I that was cool. I liked that, but other than that, I don't know. I thought this game would have a lot more like armor and weapons to choose from and find throughout the game. That was kind of a disappointment to me. Again, though, it is a beta. Maybe that's going to change in the full retail version. And another thing that bothered me was looking at all these shopkeepers. There are so many weapons and armor pieces in this game that are locked to the PvP. If you do the PvP, you get these like, geez, I don't even remember what they're called anymore. They're like medals or whatever. And if you get a bunch of them, you can like trade them in for armor and weapons. Now, those armor weapons, I'm not entirely sure. Those could be purely for the PvP. I don't think so, though. And it was just kind of disappointing to see all this stuff tied to the PvP. And I'll mention that right now, I guess. I did not care for the PvP at all. But that said, I've never cared for PvP in like any kind of game. I didn't enjoy it in Halo. It feels actually very much like Halo Reach, I want to say, the multiplayer of the PvP. I did try a couple matches, and I wasn't having any fun. It's very weird. Like I can have some fun in like the PvE, but as soon as I get into the PvP and I have to kill other players and they have to kill me, it's all the fun is just completely sucked out from me. I don't know. I just cannot stand playing against other people. I'm not a competitive person like that, but like there's just not too many weapons and armor to buy strictly for the PvE, or the story missions, which that kind of sucked. And I think you can like level up during the PvP, but it's not as quick as doing just like the story or explore missions. Another thing I want to say are like the boss battles. I found like there's only really like one boss battle. It's like this walker tank thing. I don't know if this. Hopefully this gets fixed. Like to me, the boss battles, like this walker tank at least, took way too fucking long to kill. Like I'm talking like 15 to 20 minutes to take this thing down. And if all your teammates or you die, you go all the way back to the checkpoint and it gets its health back again. And like so basically this boss battle, all it consists of is just shooting it in the legs over and over and over again. Enemies will respawn, you kill them so you can get some ammo back, and then keep shooting at the walker tank again. Like it doesn't move or anything like that. It just stays in the same place shooting like these one-hit kill missiles at you. It was a really lame boss battle that just went on forever. I hope they lower the hit points on these bosses, and some of the enemies in general too. Everything just takes too long to kill, I think, in this game. And that's like the part of the MMO, that's like the RPG MMO part of it that I just can't, I don't know, I can't stand. I've said this before, I hate bullet sponge enemies, and this game definitely seems to have a problem with that regard. So that whole strike mission, like, I just did not enjoy it at all. Like, that boss battle just, I thought that sucked. But I did like the events that would pop up through, like, the story missions. Random events will come, like, where a thing will crash down, although usually it's just defend a certain point while waves of enemies come after you. But once you get some other players roaming around, and they come and help you, that's pretty cool. In fact, I didn't talk about this in the positive, but I love the whole, like, while you're exploring in story mode, you'll see other people popping up. And you can invite them to your fire team, and you can join theirs, and it's really cool. You can kind of help each other out in a cool way. Like the co-op in general seems pretty good. I just played with strangers though, because I don't know anyone that is going to be playing the PS3 version. Everyone I know is going to be on the PS4 version, and that kind of leads me to the other negative. I played this game. I played this beta, the majority of it by myself, and I got to tell you, I don't think this is a game you're going to want to play by yourself. It gets pretty boring and repetitive fast. In fact, I'd say if you don't have anyone to play with, I don't think this is going to be a game for you. And this is probably the main point, and this is probably the reason why I'm not going to be getting Destiny. I don't know anyone that's going to play on the PS3, and I'm not buying a PS4 just for this game. This game, I'm sure this game would be a lot more enjoyable with people but I don't think it would be enjoyable enough to spend like $500 or whatever it is for a PS4. I don't know, PS4s are expensive in Canada. They're like a good like $50 more than they are in the US. Now Bloodborne, I'll buy Bloodborne for a PS4, but a PS4 for Bloodborne, but not Destiny. But I mean, it was still fun though. I still had fun with it. It just got old pretty fast when you were on your own. What else? I'll talk about like the kind of like the story stuff. Like I said before, the story stuff's not that interesting, and I just wish there were like characters to talk to, and I just wish there was more you could get from this story and this universe. Your ghost companion's voiced by Peter Dinklage, and I guess I forgot to mention this. A lot of people are harping on his voice acting. I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, it's not great, but I didn't think it was terrible or anything. But I just wish there were like characters you could talk to in the hub world. Like there's all these shopkeepers, but they have nothing to say to you. You just buy their shit. I don't know. It's weird. It's because it gives me Mass Effect vibes, like this hub world, and then except Mass Effect has all these interesting characters to talk to in this insane universe with so many details and excellent writing. Where the writing in this game, like there's a couple cutscenes in this game where, like I was laughing like at how awful the writing was. Like it was cringeworthy. Like especially just when you can compare it to like a Mass Effect, which I know this is not trying to be a massive single player adventure, but I guess I don't know. There's quite a bit of aspects of this game that definitely disappointed me. I gotta say, like I don't think this is going to be this like masterpiece of a game. Like it's nowhere near as ambitious as I thought it was going to be either. But I kind of understand what they're going for here, like kind of a seamless PvP, PvE kind of co-op deal where you can just jump in with friends very easily. I do like the menus actually, like the UI is I liked. Some people probably won't like it, but I thought it was fine. But yeah, I think that about covers it. But yeah, I guess overall I'm pretty positive on it, considering I expected to not enjoy this at all. But it's not going to be a game I'm going to buy. It's certainly, I don't think it's. I mean, another thing I guess I forgot to mention, like there's a lot of backtracking on this planet, this first planet. Of course, it's the only planet in the beta, but a lot of backtracking through like the same areas. But that's going to be fixed in the retail version where you have a bunch of planets. I don't know. I'd imagine there's going to be a lot of content in this game when it comes out, but I don't know. I don't see myself picking this up. Like it might be a game I pick up way later once I've got a PS4. But I don't know. The Destiny beta, I guess I come away from it kind of more positive than I thought, but not positive enough to want to go out and buy this for PS3 because it just simply isn't fun enough on your own. Although if anyone in the community is getting this game for PS3, let me know. Because if I knew people to play with, I'd probably get it on PS3. But for the time being, I think this is going to be a game I skip out on this year. I don't know. Maybe the game will be like a million times better when it comes out, the full retail version. But honestly, I'll be kind of confused if this game gets like 10s and 9s. Like it just doesn't seem like an amazing, brilliant game to me. Like it's a solid shooter. And the PvP seems fun if you're into that, and the PvE is fun, the co-op's fun. Like everything's really fun and solid. It's just nothing about it really blew me away, at least as far as the beta is concerned. But anyways, that will do it. I talked about the beta way longer than I expected to. I'm sure I missed some things. If you've played it, what did you think of it? Are you going to be buying the game? Are you not going to be buying it? Let me know. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.